uh, online and focus for the audience that we have that's joining us from out of the area. My name is Mary Cernicek. I am the Public Information Officer with Great Basin Team 3. We have arrived and been working on this fire for the last 13 hours. And we have information to tell you about what we've done in those last 13 hours. But before we jump into that, you hear a full cast of characters up here that have been working on getting this fire put out for you. There's a few housekeeping things. Just want to make sure everyone knows the bathrooms are over here. And that's where we'd ask you to go. We do want you to put your cell phones on vibrate, stun, silent, just because we are battling some of the fans. We really don't want to have to turn that off. We'd like to keep the air moving in this room. We have a big crowd. So we'd like to keep you as comfortable as possible. Side conversations again, because of some of the echoes that we battle in this facility, you can keep those at a minimum. If there's anything super pressing that you need an answer for right away, we do have public information officers and liaison officers on the side. They'll take you right outside and be able to talk to you on anything that's pretty pressing or urgent for you. And for some quick stats, we're doing okay online, sound going? Okay. Quick stats for us, we are at 8,646 acres on the Monroe Canyon fire. We have 389 personnel working on this fire for you and for your communities. We are a local team that has firefighters and fire professionals that have come in from Wyoming, Idaho, Nevada, and Utah. And with that, I'm going to hand you over to our incident meteorologist who is joining us online, Gina McGuire. And she's going to give you an update on the weather conditions that we saw today in our 13 hours of shift and what we're expecting in the near future. Gina?
Okay, thank you very much. Like you said, I'm Gina Palma. I'm a meteorologist responsible for the Monroe Canyon fire at the present time. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and I have just a quick 2 slides to show you guys about what's currently going on and what we expect to happen here over the next few days heading into the weekend. So this is our current lightning here on the left. The red dot is the approximate location of the Monroe Canyon fire. And I apologize, it's a pretty coarse map, so it's not exact. But that's not where it is. And so our current lightning here is on the left. Current radar picture here is on the right. You can see right now the fire location is in between some of the cells. We did have some showers and thunderstorms move across the region earlier in the day. Most of this activity will start to build here as we go into the next several hours. So do expect the showers and thunderstorms to decrease and become fairly light or generally to the south overnight. So far, rainfall reports in the area have ranged anywhere from a couple hundredths of an inch up towards 0.16 inches, and there were some reports to the south of the fire of about a third of an inch or so of rainfall. So the rainfall has occurred. It's been spotty. Some areas of the fire could have received almost nothing. Other areas could have received close to that 10th of an inch or just above that. So definitely had a little bit of moisture in the area, but this is still on the light side for what we're expecting here within the next day or so. So here is a quick picture, and there's a lot going on, so we'll kind of go day by day. So today on Thursday, this is the weather prediction for the next few days. The yellow circles, and you can see the red circle is the Monroe fire, again, approximate location of the Monroe Canyon fire. The yellow dots are where we expect a mix of wet and dry thunderstorms, and the green dots are where we expect mostly wetter thunderstorms. So you can see as we move into Thursday, we are expecting kind of a repeat of today as far as where the lightning should be located. So in the vicinity of the fire, we're expecting that mix of wet and dry storms. Probably really tomorrow's the first day where it's starting to trend a little bit wetter. So we could see some better opportunities for some of that, some of those wetting rains above a 10th of an inch or above a quarter of an inch. But again, it still will be somewhat spotty, so it's hard to say if the fire itself will receive those amounts, but it should be a little bit more widespread than what we saw today. The main threat from the thunderstorms today and yesterday really has been gusty outflow winds and obviously the lightning, and that will dwindle a bit as we go over the next 2 days. Typically, when we get increasing moisture, we don't see the really strong outflow wind gusts that we do when it's really dry. So that's good news. But there'll still be some gusty winds with these thunderstorms, so that's still a threat going forward. As we move into Friday, this is where we're really transitioning Thursday and Friday into that wetter type scenario where relative humidity goes up, temperatures cool down, there's chances for rainfall, still lightning and still gusty outflow winds that start to decrease, push a little bit further north. So we still should have some higher humidity in the region on Saturday before we see much drier conditions moving in for Sunday. So really the next 2 to 3 days, we should see fire behavior and fire danger probably at a minimum from what we've seen all week. So that's good news, but there still are definitely some concerns going forward. And then once we get into the Sunday period, into early next week is where we start getting warmer, much drier, winds increase, and fire potential and fire danger really increase to those high levels again. So this is really a breathe and giving firefighters a chance to get a handle on this fire and really make some progress, but it's not over, and we'll see a return of that warm, dry, breezy weather, and so the concerns are definitely there going forward into the weekend. We do have fuels and fire behavior advisories out for how critical the fuel situation is prior to when this fire started, so we already know that fuels are significant, they're extreme, we expected extreme fire behavior. So this again will moderate, the weather conditions will moderate those conditions just a bit, hopefully for a couple of days before we see that return of increased fire behavior and fire danger. So that concludes my report, unless there are questions, unless you're saving those for later.
Thanks, Gina. Yeah, we'll take all the questions after we have our presenters move through their presentation. So I'll have Mike come on up here, join me, and then he'll give his introduction and talk a little bit about what all we did today on the ground.
Good evening, folks. My name is Mike Monroe. I'm the Planning Operations Section Chief Trainee. How's that? Better? Okay, good. Happy to be here. Just a quick about me. Work on the Ashley National Forest, so not local, but pretty close. Assistant Fire Management Officer up there. Say that I'm happy to be down here. A lot of these folks in this room are folks that I work with on a daily basis, and so I'm happy to come down and lend a hand. And I hope that our incident management team can do a good job for everybody here, and confident that we can. So with that, I'm going to give an operational update. I'll try and be brief, but what has led us to where we are, and then the direction that our team is headed in the coming days. So with that, through the map up here, I'll talk about a couple of things before we get to that, about some challenges that we faced over the past few days that the Type 3 team did. Gina alluded to this already in her update. Obviously leading into this fire, very hot, dry, windy conditions coupled with extremely dry fuels. And that manifested itself with fire behavior that you saw on Saturday and on Sunday. So first and foremost, I want to give kudos, if you will, to the folks that came for us, Central Utah Type 3 team. Some of the communities I talked about, they did a fantastic job with the structures there in Manning, Monroe Meadows, and then did some work up in that Magleby country to really set our team up for success. So moving into our plan over the coming days, and talked about personnel numbers, I'm going to say that based on our priority as we sit in the nation and then locally here in the Great Basin, we're well poised to get a lot of additional resources. And so, good news on the front end, a lot of resources coming in. In fact, leaving the office here a few minutes ago, we have an additional 200 or so folks showing up, probably in the next 24-hour time period, that we'll be able to plug in around this fire. So that's real positive there. They're coming in the form of hand crews, fire engines, bulldozers, etc. And so let me tell you briefly how we're going to put that to work, and I'll go around the map. So what we've done, you're looking here, all the different letters and branches. What we're doing is setting up an organization that's ready to receive a significant amount of people. And so branch 1, Division Alpha, what we're doing there is just geographically putting leadership in place to plug folks in. So I'll just go around the map briefly. Branch 1 is sort of this northwest corner of the fire. And what you got is what you can see from Monroe. And it's real visible, right? Coming down slope off the top. And everybody can see it. So what we've got is a division group supervisor that's sitting in there. He's local, Trevor. He's coming in late tonight. We're gonna plug him in tomorrow with some local BLM assets and put a contingency line that runs along this Poverty Flats into this dry canyon. The intent of that, as that fire backs down the hill, we want a catcher's mitt in that flat country, that cheatgrass area, where we feel pretty confident that if it comes down, we'll be able to pick it up easy in those light flashing fuels. So that's the plan there. It's moving up into branch 2. This is kind of the northwest. And this is where far out on this fire, we have a lot of different values. So we start up north, Big Lake. That's kind of far out from the fire. We've got contingency groups up there. A gentleman named Chris Weaver is up top looking at options to provide protection for those structures and infrastructure that's located up in that area. Also thinking out to the east a little bit, Birdville, that's on our minds, and we're planning out kind of that far because we anticipate that when this fire, if this fire does continue to spread, it's going to move up to the northeast. So a lot of efforts focused in that country. I don't know if I'm doing that or someone else. There we go. Okay. Continue, we'll come down south a little bit in branch 2. This is what's going to happen. We're starting to implement, just getting our feet under us, but the plan moving forward is to look at strategies where we can stop this northwest progression of this fire. And so the Forest Service here, Fish Lake, done a fantastic job of hazardous fuels reduction projects. That's been done in the form of mechanical projects, prescribed fire over the years. I bet in the fall you've seen that smoke in there. So the good news is, right up here in the northwest of Signal Peak, you've got a big black spot, prescribed fire they've done. What we want to do as an incident management team over the coming days, potentially weeks, is hook into that black piece of earth, bring it off Signal Peak, and carry a trail system over here that's going to go towards Magleby. Yep, right where his cursor's pointing. Bring that south. Again, the intent there is this fire moves northeast. That's going to be an area that we can either use a backfiring operation, start a fire, send it back, consume all that fuel in between the fires, or if our fire decides to park and not move too much, it just gives us a place to catch it if it works towards us slowly. So that's branch 2. We're going to move south now, and this takes us into some of the areas of more immediate concern. Magleby country up there, the reservoir, get a lot of in-holding structures there. Big priority and concern for us. I'm going to point briefly at that fire edge where it's at. I made this run yesterday morning. Gosh, time's going really fast. Fortunately, as Gina said, got a little bit of weather. It's going to give us an opportunity to grab this edge as direct as possible. And using the same strategy, we'll put hand line and get hand crews working in there to work north along that fire edge. And then again, picking up roads, meadows, there's a lot of meadows up there, and working it up north towards that line that Game Perry's putting in. So that's sort of looking out, starting that tomorrow, and we'll continue that probably through the duration of our incident management team to catch this northeast corner when and if it becomes active again. And as she said, anticipating hotter and drier weather starting Sunday, moving into next week. All right, I'm going to come down into what we call branch 3 now, the southeast side of the fire. So good news, bad news, depending on how you look at it. So you've got Manning Meadows and Monroe Meadows structures that are located in this country, right? And the good news is that, and it's hard to say that, but I'm going to say it anyways, fires kind of move through that area. So we've seen a lot of the impacts to that community that we're probably going to see. So now what we're doing is sort of picking up the pieces. And that's taken place in this division whiskey and blue on this map. What we've done is engaged hand crews, fire engines directly behind those communities where that fire came in, we just got them right on that black edge, working those hot spots, putting them out. And so our priority is to get all the heat that's located around those communities and structures. Once we feel real solid about that, we're gonna do the best we can to pick up the hard fire edge and work down around this heel, just so there's no further spread. That pretty much captures our plan. There's a couple groups we talked about. Night group. So we've got, currently we've got a staff night group that's gonna be out with engines, just monitoring and watch to make sure nothing screws up on us at night. And then, well, I spoke about contingency up there with Chris. So those are the two groups that aren't well represented on this map, but they're out there doing their work too. So take homes there, staff 24/7. We'll continue to do that for the next several shifts at least. So there's our operational plan. Last thing I want to mention is with the rain that we've seen over the last couple of days, your fire activity is looking less up on that hillside, right? And that's great. We do want to just paint a picture in everyone's head as we get into Sunday. Would anticipate seeing a little more activity just based on the weather that's coming our way. So over the next few shifts here, we're gonna do everything we can. We're gonna plug these people in and implement this plan I just described. So kind of a mouthful there. Appreciate you folks being here. I'm happy to be here. I'll pass off to Sheriff Curtis. Thank you.
All right, so I'm going to just talk a little bit about what we did, what we have done since Sunday afternoon when we got called out. With this incident, because of how quick it grew, there was probably one of the biggest things that we were really worried about was our communications tower. So with our dispatch center up on Monroe Peak, there is all the emergency communications for all public safety agencies for at least 3 counties. So Spirit, Ivy, and Wayner housed through that tower, which goes directly to the National Communications Center. So that's why you saw a lot of activity around the peak. We were able to save those. That's why it's nice on the map. You see the nice little circle up on top where nothing's there. There's a lot of pink and orange mud up there, or red mud. Anyway, so what we did, we called out search and rescue. We had them go up and start trying to get people out of the area. Basically what we've done is we've evacuated all the Monroe meadows, Manning meadows, and all of that area. It's pretty well closed off now. We are doing everything we can to not have people get impact and interfere with firefighting activity. The big goal is saving the structures. That was our #1 goal after life saving. We spent a lot of time making sure we had people accounted for. Some of the things that we have done as we've gone through, we've had property owners tell us, hey, I need to get it in my cabin. I've got some serious things, whatever it may be, a once in a lifetime animal or whatever it may be in their cabin. We've been able to work a process through that we were able to help get people in when it was safe and escort them in. We want to be able to somewhat continue to do that. We're going to put a number and email address up here in a minute where if we have something like that, then we can continue to try and make those efforts when it's safe. That's kind of been our big goal. Now, you saw on the map there was some blue X's. We do have some hard closures on the main mountain roads into those areas. We've had deputies and search and rescue kind of holding that area so we can make sure that we have people accounted for. Because we want to make sure that if people are going up there, we keep track of them so we know where they're going and we don't want to lose any lives. And then yesterday, we had Big Lake. We kind of anticipated that some of the fire was going to be coming that way. So we kind of reached out to a lot of the property owners and tried to get everybody vehicles out, kind of keep track of that. And then we had the fire right in the middle of it. So I want to kind of explain the process that we take at the sheriff's office when it comes to your property. I'm not going to force you to leave your property, but you do need to understand that if we come up and warn you that, hey, it's time to get out, I'm not going to send more people up to risk their lives if you don't want to come off that property. I respect your right to be able to stay in your property, but just know, once we give that warning, I don't want to risk any more lives. That's kind of your choice. So we're not going to be forcing you to leave your property, but I'm also not going to risk any more lives. Okay? Real quick after this, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to yell. We anticipate that in the next 24 to 48 hours, we'll be transitioning some of those security roadblocks back over to state DNR. They're gonna be housing that. Basically, we've done that for 4 days now. By the time we get done, it'll be about 6. With that, I'm gonna turn the time over to Bill Toffer, the county emergency manager, to talk about if we need to do more evacuations or give more notices. He's gonna talk a little bit about that and some of the other things we've got going on.
All right, so my name's Bill Topper. I've talked with a few of you, had a lot of text messages with a lot of you, about different things with this fire, so, I'm the face that goes along with the phone call or the text message, so. Anyway, Colton Stan from the Red Cross want me to reach out, let everybody know that there is some things available for them. For secondary homes, assistant focuses on casework as well as, mental health, spiritual care, things like that. Not a lot they can do monetarily, but they can help you in other ways. If you need them, it's 1-800 Red Cross. Okay. The other thing I want to talk about is our notification system. So if there's going to be evacuations, things like that, we're going to do it through a system called Code Red. A lot of you are already signed up on that. It's very easy to do. Go to our county website, click on resident. The first thing that pops up is Code Red. The first one on the list is Code Red. Go in, enter your address, put in your information, and when we need to get a hold of you, we can contact you through that. We'll send out a mass notification, hey, we need to evacuate this area, and then we can do that. One thing we did that, we sent out notifications through the Manning and Monroe Meadows through Code Red. But when we started to do through Big Lake, to let everybody know that, hey, if you want to get in there and get stuff out, get it out now. I just did that kind of a calling tree. Called a few guys I knew that had property up there, knew they knew everybody else, and just kind of started a calling tree with that and getting that going so everybody could get notified on that. One thing I did want to let everybody know, right now, if you still need to get into Big Lake, into that area, you can't get anywhere past Christensen Springs, but you can get up to that point. If you still need to get in and get stuff out, you can do that. The best time to do that is between 8 o'clock and 2 o'clock. So 8 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. That's when you're not going to have fire traffic on those routes. They go in early and then they come out after that. So that was what I was told was the best time for people to go in and do that. So if you need to go do that, try to do that during those times. All right. But I suggest everybody get on the county website, get signed up for Code Red. That way we can, we can get notifications out quickly, at whatever we need on that. So, all right. Okay. And I'll turn it over to what's that? Thomas Peterson. There we go. He's not.
Okay. Well, I'm Thomas Peterson, the area manager for forestry, fire, and state lands. So I represent the state and the counties and the municipalities. So we understand that the Monroe Meadows has a lot of memories. It's multi-generational properties. It means a lot to you guys. So we're really appreciative for the Waters team coming and helping us on this incident. We really appreciate the sheriff's office, your guys' local fire departments and EMS. You guys have supported us amazing. The other thing that we really want to let you guys know is we've asked Waters team to come in and we've asked them to be aggressive. We've asked them to come in and do what they can to help us protect those properties and do all that they can safely. So that's the direction we've given them. The other thing I think is really important to know is the cooperation that we've got with the Forest Service, the BLM, and our interagency partners. We're all on the same page here, and we all want this fire off the landscape as soon as we can, but in a safe manner. This fire is going to be on the landscape for a while. It might look sometimes like it's done and different things, but there's a lot of country up there. There's a lot of dead and down and some steep, massive country. So we're going to do all we can to try and prevent as much loss as we can, but do it safely. The other thing is where we represent the state of Utah, and we do, the Forest Service, everybody represents you guys as taxpayers, but as you guys have concerns, I want you guys to know that we want you guys to bring it to us. We want you guys to show up in public meetings, and we really appreciate you guys coming and voicing those concerns and bringing them to us, because we don't see everything that's going on. So my office is up at the DNR building at the south end of town, and you should find me there pretty easy. So Jason, you want to take over? Jason Queen?
Thanks, Thomas. Big crowd, lots of interest. Good to see folks here. Unfortunately, it's under these circumstances. I'm Jason Kling. I'm the district ranger here in Richfield, representing the Forest Service and with the Fish Lake National Forest. I live in Monroe, and gosh, it's been a crazy couple days, right? A lot going on. Sunday afternoon, I'm at the state center, and just after 2 o'clock, you know, within just a matter of a couple minutes of one another, multiple text messages coming in. We see smoke on the Monroe. And so I get up, I step out, I look up, yep, sure enough, there's some smoke. And so I start to reach out to my contacts. And quickly reach those folks that are dispatched, 911, and so forth. And it didn't take very long, and the siren goes off in Monroe, just within a couple of minutes, volunteer fire engine, I see going down Main Street, heading up there. A couple of minutes later, Forest Service engine, another engine. And so those folks responded really quickly. And then the amount of time that it took to be able to drive from Monroe up to where that fire started, just within that little bit of time, that fire grew almost exponentially, right? I mean, for those of you that were watching it, you know what I mean. You know, just a little bit of smoke turned into a lot of smoke really quick. And so as managers and as leaders, it was obvious to us really quick that this fire was going to get very big. And we have a lot of really good firefighters and fire managers here in our central Utah area. And I'm recognizing that this fire was going to become several thousand acres, and we were going to need several hundred people to help us manage this fire. We were going to need to order in a complex incident management team to help us. And so nationally, there's about 40 of these teams, so not a lot. Less than one team per state. I was actually just looking at a report today. There's 19 of these incident management teams that have already been ordered and are in the same predicament that we find ourselves here in. Several large fires across the country and across the West. So we ordered a team. We got assigned Brett Waters' team, who I know extremely well. I know the folks on his team. And in order to become a part of one of these teams, it takes a lot of years of experience and a lot of qualification. This team that has come in from all over the country, from back east to all over the west, you know, there's 75 folks that make up as part of this Great Basin Team 3. These folks are top notch. They've got experience. They're professionals at what they do. I've been out with them personally many times on my own, and this is what we do. This is what they do. They come in and they provide support and assistance to that local area. When you get several hundred firefighters, you got to be able to have some organization and a plan. How are we going to attack this fire? Be able to put it out safely. What's the strategy going to be? How many resources do we need? Where are we going to sleep those resources? How are we going to feed them? We've got public that has interest in what's going on. We have partners and cooperators that want to know what's going on and are being impacted by this fire. And so those folks that make up that team all have their own various responsibilities. And they come to a new area, and And they'll be here for the next couple of weeks. They'll become part of our community. We'll accept them. And over the next couple of weeks, they are going to do a ton of really good work. They're replacing, our Central Utah folks that are still here. They'll continue to help and support it where they can. And as you know, just today, we had a couple of new starts that they assisted with. Last night we had a new start that they assisted with. And so there's still lots of fire activity going on in our area outside of this Monroe Canyon fire. And so they had it for the first 2.5 days until Brett's team took over this morning. And that first 2.5 days, those folks were up on the mountain every hour of the day for the first 72 hours. I personally was able to get up there this morning and a few others and got to visit and see some of the work that they did firsthand. I was able to drive through Monroe Meadows. I was able to go to Manny Meadows Reservoir this morning and to be able to look at what they accomplished over the last 3 days was absolutely amazing. We need to be proud of these folks. We need to support these folks. And we're just getting started. We have a ton of work to still do over the next several weeks. And we've got a large amount of moisture coming. This could be here for potentially until it snows, unfortunately. But we've got a good team here. We've got professionals. They know what they're doing. I'm happy to have them here, and they're going to do good work for us. Appreciate our partners, counties, state, sheriffs, evacuations. This really takes a group effort, a team effort, a community effort, and so we're here to take care of this. We will support the community. We'll continue to have these meetings frequently, provide updates. And as your Forest Service representative, many of you know me. Our kids go to school together. We play sports together. And we do a variety of things together. And so please reach out. I'll do the best I can to answer your questions. If I don't know, I know who I can put you in contact with for the team to be able to get you the help that you need. So with that, I will introduce Brett Waters, the incident commander from Team 3.
Thanks, Jason. I'm Brett Waters. I'm the incident commander for Great Basin Team 3. And Great Basin is very good mentioned. That's Southern Idaho, Utah, Nevada, a little bit of the Arizona Strip, and western Wyoming. So that's kind of the geographic area to speak about. As Jason mentioned, we're an interagency team, so we work for lots of different folks. I actually work for the state of Utah. My home is the Wasatch Front, so it was real close for me to come up here and assist. And there's a lot of folks from this area which are on our incident management teams. We go all over the country doing this same thing. Usually don't like to have to do it at home, but Jason, that's what happened here. We really appreciate the welcome that the community has given us. You guys have been super gracious and been wonderful welcoming us in. And what we are here to do is, like has been mentioned, is aggressively take care of this fire. Do everything possible to get this fire off the landscape, protect all the values at risk, manage it, and make it so that when we do get some rain or when we have to snow this winter, that we're not going to have erosion problems, but take every advantage we can to get this in your life back to normal. You've had a lot of fires here in the last few years, and whatever we can do to help mitigate this as quick as possible, that's what we're here to do. The local team, the Central Utah team, the initial attack this, like Jason said, they did an outstanding job. And they gave us a really good foundation to start this. We took over at 6 o'clock this morning. We were working with them and helping them and supporting them. They gave us all the tools needed to really take over this morning. We don't have a lot of resources, so thank God Mother Nature gave us a little reprieve. A little bit of rain, a little cloud cover, moderating some of the fire activity for the last couple of days, and that's been great. We rose to the number one team, the number one fire in the nation today, which will help us get some of the resources that we need. There is a lot of competition with fires throughout the United States, the mainland and Alaska. There's a lot of activity, so there's only limited resources. Being the number one fire in the nation is going to really help us. So you're going to see more resources coming in, which will allow us to be very aggressive, which is exactly what we want to do. We want to be aggressive, we want to do this safely, and we want to get this fire mitigated and take care of the landscape and get you back to, you folks back to normal. We have been ordering resources. We have been working very closely with all the partners, the Forest Service, the BLM, the state. We kind of know those guys, so we're in the same batch most of the time. And the both counties, Spear and Mayo County, with Monroe, we're here to help folks. We're here for these couple of weeks to really be able to help you. We are a very professional, very aggressive team, and we're going to do everything we can with the resources that we've got. In turn, we also are very open and transparent. If you've got any questions, if you've got any concerns, this is your home. You know a lot better about what's going on, or some things that could happen, or things that we may not know about, or areas we may not know about. Please reach out to us so that we can answer your questions, get the answers, but we're here for you. We're here to support you, take care of this emergency, and then to get you back to normal. That's our approach. So again, thank you very much for coming here. We're going to have regular public meetings, and we've got our liaison officers or other public information officers out back. So reach out to any of us. And again, thank you very much. Appreciate all the hospitality, and you've got my promise. We will do everything we can to get this taken care of and get you back to normal.
Thank you, Commander Waters. All right, we have talked at you for about 40 minutes, and we would like to take questions, but there's a lot of folks in the room. I need some help. Okay, Toby will bring the microphone to you. All right, I don't want people to get up and start moving around. You have to go back? Okay. After the sheriff.
I always gotta steal the show and say a little more than I need to. So one thing I did forget to mention, we are doing an investigation on this. We're coinciding with the Forest Service special agents. We've been working with them. It is human caused. We found a spot where there was an ATV that turned around, or side by side turned around in the trail. That's where the fire started. You'll see there was a tip line that was published. We published it. That side by side that we were looking for, we have found that person. We talked to that person. That person was not involved in the start of the fire. So we are still looking for more information. If anybody saw something that they want to pass along to us, please reach out to us. There's that tip line. We'll share it again on the Sheriff's Office and Emergency Management page. But I did want to mention that. The other part on the code red, it's tied to addresses, how it knows where to make that notification. So what you can do is when you go in, you can actually apply multiple times. But it'll actually, you put in an address of your cabin or mountain property, wherever it may be, and then the phone number it goes to. You can have multiple people put in for the same address. It doesn't have to be your home address, you can put it for multiple addresses as well. But the last time I was in there and did it, you actually had to do, for each address, you had to do a new application information, just so you know that that's out there. So we've also, it's a gee-whiz thing. If you have a family member who lives in Monroe, and you live in Richfield, you can actually put that family member's address. So if there's a code red that we put out that affects that address, you'll get the notification for home or whatever number you put. So that's just real quick on the code red and real quick on the investigations. We're still working on that. Thank you.
Good stuff, and thank you for the plug on the tip line. All right, so yeah, you heard about the operations, you heard about the weather, you heard about what we're planning to do from our various state liaisons. I'll take any hands and we'll send Toby way. And we know sometimes folks aren't really comfortable speaking in a large group, totally okay. We're gonna be around after the meeting, after we shut off this live Q&A portion. So you can still talk to us, all right? We're not going home until all your questions are answered. So in the next 20 minutes or so, we'll see what pops up. And do we have any online that have come up? Maybe we can take a couple of those while folks are settling in here. Okay, this one has to do about access to the evacuated areas. When can we get back into the Pine Tree Lane area off of 44? That's our closure area.
It's obviously it's gonna be when it's safe. I have no idea where Trail 44 is, so. You tell me how you demanding, that was one of those places that I start wandering, I know where some of y'all's cabins are, and that's kind of where it's just past this guy's cabin. That's kind of the directions I live by and go by, right? So if you have a specific question on a specific piece of property, come get with us. What we'll do is, if we can figure out where you're at, we can kind of make a game plan and see kind of where things are. We have to work with the incident management to make sure if we can get you in there. The biggest thing is if there's active firefighting going on right in that area, we'll be telling you, sorry, we're not there. It's gonna be a little while until we get there, but we can keep your address and phone numbers online, so when it gets to a point where incident management says, hey, we're okay to get into this area, then we can call you, we can make arrangements, we have somebody to escort, make sure you get in and out when you need to. I hope that helps.
And Sheriff Curtis, before you surrender the mic, first of all, I'd like to express a word of thanks to the entire team. It's dangerous, hard work. And the first thing is as many of you stressed, it's important for everybody to come home safe. So, yeah, hard work, do it well, but everybody, please, come home safe. Yeah, that's one thing. Now, on the map that you just showed, if you can time it up, can you just use your cursor to point at where the current road closures are?
Okay, if you look on here, it's probably washed out a little bit. So if you see these blue X's, so keep coming down, right there, there's one. So that's down, that is actually being manned by Bayou County. If you look along the green line, there's two more. Those are being manned by Forest Service. Those are Dry Creek, and I'm not sure what the other one we want to call. So going just above branch 1, that's Monroe Canyon, that's the mouth of Monroe Canyon. We are manning that one. So that's where that one is. If you go back over, it's probably a little further up, is Christensen Springs, it's a little bit off the map, that's up on Cove. So yeah, right clear up on top up there. That's where that one is. The next one comes down to Kishuram, the main Kishuram Road down to Kishuram. That's where that one is. And then just past it down here by Greenwich, that's the main forest access road going upper and lower box. That's kind of where we're doing it, right at the forest boundaries. We do realize that people are coming and going. Some of the other things that we also ran into is we've had a lot of animals up there as well. They've been working with the Forest Service Range Con to make sure we get access to those too if we need to. So if we see something, we're trying to get them where they can be as well. So if you have questions and need to get in somewhere, don't hesitate to yell at us. We just want to kind of make sure firefighters get in, get their job, and get the thing knocked out, but we also want to help you guys too, because you need a little bit of peace of mind too.
Again, guys, thanks much for the effort. I know it's hard work. You mentioned that you're going to be aggressive in managing the fire. Thanks for that. But please come home safe.
Thank you. I'll just add on the sheriff here. So, on the Forest Service, National Forest Lands, we also have in effect a closure board. So, I get it. Hey, we love to recreate on the mountain. We have some of the best ATV trails up there, UTV trails, scenery. Folks like to be able to spend time up on the national forest. I'm one of those recreators as well. And, with this incident and this fire, some of the fire behavior that we've seen over the last few days, what we anticipate, we felt like in everybody's safety, we needed to put into place this closure order. So right now, essentially, everything you've seen on the map, all of the national forest, basically from the Dry Creek Guard Station, Dry Creek Canyon, kind of on that southern end, Langdon Mountain, from there, everything north. So Manning Meadows Reservoir, Watts Creek Reservoir, up the Maggleby's, over the top of Maggleby's Pass, up the Big Lake, Long Flat, until you hit the National Forest boundary all the way to the very north end. We've got that closed. And we'll continue to evaluate that. And as hopefully, conditions change and we can reduce the size, then we'll do that when it's appropriate.
It's just because we have online audience, we have to thank you though. And then I saw you, a hand in the back. Toby will get you next. Thank you. Okay, so I'll repeat that question for us. So the question was donations and support for the firefighters and the folks that are working on the suppression effort. Excellent question. The federal firefighters that have come in actually have all of their needs taken care of contractually. So they have their food, they have their water, they have their sleeping conditions, accommodations, they have their gasoline, they have their tents, they have all of those things provided for them for the incident. However, as you've heard from your local district ranger, from your state officials, you have a lot of local people that are here working on the fire, and you have local fire departments, local search and rescues. You have folks right here that need some support. So we are going to encourage you to get those donations to your local units right here, your local fire department, your local volunteer agencies, and we can help facilitate making sure it gets to those folks, because there's a lot of people that are not under the federal contracts, that are not assigned to it through a federal agency, that really could use your support and your efforts. So thank you for that. There was a question in the back I saw. Okay.
Yeah, do you have any idea where the power's on and where the power's off? Maybe because of food in bridges?
All right, that one, I don't think we have the detail on the ground for that. It's a good question. Oh,
Mary, let me talk about that real quick. So as we transition, sorry, Top Murray with Water Incident Management Team, when we transitioned with the local Type 3 team here from Central Utah, they tried to confirm the same thing and could not do that because the same power that feeds up into these private end holdings, your cabins up there, feed the tower for the communications for public safety dispatching. So we know it's up and running. We know there is various spots where material trees are in the power lines. And so who has power, we're not sure. The only thing we can confirm currently, as I was chasing some of that information down today, is that the Magleby area has no power currently. But everywhere else, we don't know.
thank you, Todd.
So one thing we do know is our towers right now are running off the generator. And so the power, they are, okay. If they were turning the power off here, they say must be cut back on. Okay, all right, never mind. So I don't know, maybe not.
It changes that
It
fast.
changes that.
I know.
Yes.
It's okay. Any other questions in the room? Okay, I got one that kept kind of getting repeated. I'm gonna paraphrase like all 50 million of these. Monroe, there's some energy here. Anyone anticipate that they're going to have to trigger any evacuation notices for Monroe in the future? There's a lot that goes into this one.
So as of right now, no, we're not looking forward, we're not looking at that. We are putting plans in place for that, yes. But right now, we're not anticipating that, but we are getting prepared for it, so.
Good question. I'll kind of give an overview of the process as I understand it for triggering evacuation, my role in that. Can you hear me? Not doing well with holding my mic. So, what we will do as an incident management team will recommend what we feel should happen in terms of evacuation based on fire activity. Now, specifically to your question, right now, I don't anticipate that fire coming down off of Monroe quite fast enough to trigger evacuations. But I'm not going to make any guarantees there. As I said earlier, our fire activity is moderated for the next couple of days. When we get into next week, I don't want to say all bets are off. We're looking at it very closely. But there still is that potential. Now, what happens from there really transitions into our cooperatives, right? Because I can say to the fire management person, hey, there's risk coming down off this mountain. And I would encourage us, recommend us to implement these evacuations. Having said that, I do not have the authority to do that. So what I'll do is get with our shop liaison officers, who in turn will work with local sheriffs, emergency management, and those individuals will say, yes, we accept or don't agree with your recommendation, whatever that answer is, they will then act accordingly with those evacuations. So just to capture that, we as fire management will make recommendations based on the activity we see and how successful we think we're going to be with those efforts. But ultimately, it's going to come down to local authorities to make those decisions.
Any other questions in the room? All right, got one more from online. Hang with me, I know it's getting warm in here. There are a lot of cows and sheep in this area of the forest. What is being done to get those moved?
I'll take that one. For our livestock ranchers, producers, and so forth that have grazing permits on the national forest, at least for the Monroe, you're assigned ranch on his Rick Boiler. All of you know him. You've got his phone number, and so he's a point of contact. I just ask that you continue to stay in touch with constantly. If we've got updates, those will come from Rick. We've also got our liaison folks that hopefully also have your contact information. And so between them and Rick, we'll be talking with you. I know that we've already had a number of different ranchers out and about moving animals. Some have moving animals to the south, some have been moving animals to the north, some have been moving animals off to the east. And we'll just continue to stay in touch with you. And as depending on fire behavior and what this does, obviously we want to try to impact as least number of people as possible. But just stay in contact with Rick. That'll be your best bet.
Thanks. And they brought me one more question that is probably of interest to this group from the online crowd. Can you confirm we're hearing that some structures were lost? And yes, as we were transitioning in, we were told by the outgoing team that 2 structures were lost. That's the level of detail we have right now until all notifications have been made to those owners. So we're gonna hold it at that. Any other details from that will come after the sheriff's assured that he's made all of his notifications to those folks about that situation. So we'll respect their privacy on that, and the information will follow. So with that, we are not leaving, even though it's warm. We'll turn the fans back on. You will have access to our incident meteorologists, our Forest Service personnel, our state partners, the sheriff. Come talk to us for the incident. We will be around the room, happy to take any other questions from you. We'll get anything else that comes in online, answered in the upcoming days. There will be a recording of this meeting, so you can share it with anyone that might have missed it. We're gonna put it on our YouTube page. We can help you get that loaded up, or at least get you the address and have that on the phone or on the table over there. And we will be holding another public meeting. We're looking at Saturday. We can't use this space because there's a wedding. So we're gonna be looking for a place to meet with you, and we need a big one because there's a lot of interest in this fire. Thank you, and we'll be here. You can go ahead and cut off the live feed. And we'll meet you here around the room. Appreciate your attendance tonight.